What's up, everybody? We are here today to talk about Starfield, the game that everybody's been talking about for over a month now since it's been out. Well, a lot longer than that, actually. People have been either complaining or been up this game now for years. And I just want to throw my 2 cents in and join the party. So this footage that you're seeing here is basically the main hub of the game, and it is where you get all your main story mission quests and all that good stuff. The group that you're kind of joining is called Constellation. It's all these people, and you'll come to this main hub a lot in the main story if you follow the main quest line, and you will basically just talk to these people, get quests, put those artifacts that are in there floating around, and you need to collect, I think, about 20 something of them in the game. And you get them in different ways and different quests. You have to hunt down people who have them and all that good stuff. Without spoiling too much, I kind of wanted to make this video just to go over some of the pros and cons of the game and kind of talk about some of the things that everybody on the internet's been discussing. And I think people were really harsh on this game for some reason. It's not perfect, but I kind of want to give some pros and cons, and I want to start off first with the graphics. So I picked this clip out specifically because I think this illustrates it pretty good. You get these little screensaver things, and I think they're just meant to be graphics demos, and my god, that guy looks exactly like me, and I think this game just looks incredible. Not a 10 out of 10, but at least an 8. I mean, certain areas are ugly, but not this, and if you disagree...
I don't know what the hell you want me to say.
Of course, your mileage will vary depending, again, on the device that you're playing this on. PC, Xbox, whatever, but overall, I don't think this is an ugly game. I played a lot of games this year, and it's pretty much 2023 in line with everything else. It's no Baldur's Gate, but I mean, what is? So that's pretty much, I mean, that covers the graphics for me. I think this thing is just really good looking. Don't see the problem that everybody's complaining about, and just play for yourself, or, you know, watch more videos in 4K HD, whatever, on YouTube. I'm sure you'll find a ton of videos that'll illustrate exactly what I'm talking about, but if I haven't done so already, give it a shot. It's on Game Pass. It's at least, at a very minimum, an 8 out of 10 for graphics. So yeah, looks pretty good. But games are not just about graphics, especially Bethesda games. They never have been. None of them have ever been that great looking. None of them have ever wowed anybody. There's that step out moment, but I mean, Oblivion looks great, Skyrim looks great, yeah, that's all fine and dandy. This, however, is the meat and potatoes of Bethesda games. Now, this is something that I just came across wandering around, as I normally do in these open world games, and I found this hill, and I was like, oh, cool, let's see what's over the hill. It's probably nothing. Probably just a bunch of sand, probably a bunch of dirt, trees, I don't know, maybe an alien life form, but to my surprise, randomly, with this title screen coming up, it's a shipwreck. And in these little huts was a lot of good loot, and I was surprised, and I thought it was a nice little treat. Other things in this little random exploration discussion that we're having right now that goes in perfectly with what I mean by why I love this game and why I love Bethesda is stuff like this. Now, this was the end segment, a kind of turn in your bounty sort of side quest, and you'll see here, this is not story spoiler stuff, this is not anything, it's just one minor side quest that nobody would even blink or think twice about. But the funny and evil stuff you could do in Bethesda games, this is why I added this clip, and I think I'm just going to let it run with its own audio, just so I can demonstrate really how messed up you can be in this game and how messed up this game can be.
I was a military psychiatrist during the war and switched to a private practice after we got married.
Here's your ship parts, as
You
promised.
know what that moon reminds me of?
The time we were boarded by the Crimson Fleet? Whenever
was
I
going
travel
to
out in
say
space, I feel like a
cheese, but
superhero.
Now that you mention it,
It's odd the things you meant. I used to be an explorer, but I gave
just
up the stars
realized
in
my
the sky
partner
for the
named our houseplants
standing
after
beast.
all the planets we visited our first year together.
You dead meat!
Thug life.
And now for something a little bit more cheery. These are the main cities in the game, and the three that kind of come to mind, I'm sure there's more, and somebody could correct me on this, but New Atlantis, which you kind of start off in, this one right here. You can see my footage, just me exploring it, messing around. This was probably the first hour or so in the game, and it's a big city, it's a main city. Lots of people are having conversations everywhere. Mostly vendors and stuff like that is what you'll find here. The same as all the other cities. They're basically just a hub to trade and stuff, just like any other video game. Trade stuff in, buy stuff, mess with your ship, edit, whatever. This is where you go to do it in a big hub city. You can't do it out in the middle of outer space. So these are like transitional or like quick stops. But people have complained that this isn't populated enough or whatever, and I mean, to me, it looks alright. There's, handfuls of people here, handfuls of people sprinkled there. These conversations are kind of funny from what you see in the dialogue, but yeah, it is what it is. I mean, they're not tiny or useless. Now, this is where I spent most of my time. This is called Aquila City, and it's kind of like an old western town. I don't know why I was drawn to this, maybe because of the credit glitch in the puddle of mud that has now since been corrected, but I just found this place very accessible and very welcoming for me. So right straight ahead where that yellow booth is where you go to your ship vendor. This is basically the main entrance of the city, and you'll see a bunch of vendors here. There's a bar where you could recruit people. I think it's called the Hitcher's Post or Hitching Post. Yeah, that's Hitching Post. You'll see people kind of hanging out. You can see Roland's Arms. That's gun shop. There's a couple of gun shops in the city. It's not a huge place. You could see here as I kind of try to get an aerial view. I'm already probably at this point maybe halfway through the city, but I mean, it serves its purpose. You could even buy like a flat or an apartment here, and yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. Density-wise, it's pretty cool. There's actually a little soccer field in the back where you could see children and their parents kind of hanging out like a little park, but it has that lived-in feeling. Now, my issue with this part of the game is I wish it had more of it to where the vendors kind of did stuff like they do in other games where they'll come out and, I don't know, if it's a carpet vendor, they'll, dust the carpet and you'll see them doing like their daily chores and stuff like that. That's the only part of this city areas in this game that I felt were not fleshed out enough. Other than that, I mean, it's exactly like any other game. So again, I don't know what people were expecting. This place now reminds me a lot of Cyberpunk, and it's called Neon City, and it's the same thing, trade authority, where you could go trade your stuff, and if you have contraband stuff, you could sell it to them, and you could quote unquote wash it or get it cleaned. It's almost like money laundry with some of the things. If you stole something, you could take it to a trade authority, they'll clean it for you, and they'll give it right back to you. I didn't want to say they'll give it right back to you. I want to say that they have a buyback thing to where if you fenced your goods there, you could buy them back, and when you buy them back, they'll appear clean in your inventory so that if you get stopped, you don't get arrested and told that you have contraband and all this other stuff, which is pretty much what I was doing in this clip. And in this clip is where I got busted, basically, for not doing that. So I came into Neon City. Rambo over here tried to stop me and make me pay the fine and all that good stuff, and you get hauled off just like in Skyrim. Now here I wanted to talk a little bit about inventory and resources and guns and just, things like that in the inventory screen. First off, I'm not going to get too in-depth with combat or anything. I'm just going to say these guns, a lot of people complained about them. I think that the gun selection, at least for ballistics, is really good. You can see here they have everything covered. Legendaries, rares, epics, handguns, shotguns. Get a little bit of everything. Even that nice, sweet minigun that I have there. You have your healing items and food and stuff like that, which also heals you. And you have resources. Now, resources are the problem that I have with this game. So your character has about, I believe, 130 pounds or kilograms or whatever storage space to start. And you can see on mine on the bottom left, I have 152 of 205 already full. I don't feel like I'm really carrying that much. And that's the point I'm trying to get to here. You really can't get to carry a lot of stuff, and resources are one of those things where if you're somebody who likes to loot a lot or whatever, you pick up everything off the floor, you will immediately become encumbered in this game, and that has to be put in the cons section because it is so quick to become encumbered and not be able to run, and then your O2 runs down, and then you might get into a firefight, and it's just a real hassle. I wish that they had gone the direction that some other games went, where certain things don't count towards your inventory space, like resources, or at least have them count for the ship's cargo space, because those are two separate things. You have your own personal inventory, and you have your ship's inventory. So picking up all this stuff, I feel like, shouldn't count against your character's inventory, but it does, and it quickly adds up, and it's just not a great feeling. So I'm going to have to put that in the cons section as far as inventory goes. And this is basically what you're going to be doing with your resources. You're going to be going to these workbenches and creating things. It could be medical, it could be guns, it could be whatever, but you'll see the supplies that you need are listed on the right-hand side. The bottom says install, so if you have all those things and you do have the level required to build that thing in research, then you could build it. If you don't, then you can't. It's pretty simple to understand, but that doesn't make it good. I feel like this is part of the cons section because you should just find these parts, or they should make it easier, or they should just not count resources against your inventory. The problem here becomes I have to carry 6 billion nickel and 6 billion iron and find one of these workbenches, and it's like just so cumbersome to upgrade weapons to the point where I kind of just tossed away things that I wasn't using, any guns that I kind of hadn't used in a while, and then I kind of just kept the ones that I did use, and then when I'd find something new, I was like, I don't need this anymore, I'd just toss it. I didn't spend too much time in this section. I just kind of built a few scopes and whatever, upgraded a few guns, and I kind of got tired of just hunting for the resources to do this. So this is definitely a con section for me. I know it's in a lot of the Fallout games and stuff like that, but I just feel like they should get rid of it and have scopes be something that you find out in the wild, like an item that you could find while you're looting, a scope for a laser gun or something. Next up is the combat section, and I kind of want to just show this because I had a lot of fun with this game's combat, as I mentioned before, and just griefing these guys for no reason. Just wanted to test out this minigun, but you can see I built up a bounty. The guns handle really well. You really do get that feeling that you're shooting a minigun when you're shooting it, the vibration and the controller, all that good stuff. You have your jump pack where you could kind of use it for flight in midair while you're in combat shooting at people, so it gives you a chance to reposition, and I just thought they did a really good job with combat. I think it's actually one of the most fun parts of this game. There's not really much to say about it other than it feels more Call of Duty than Fallout, and no VATS, so no VATS is a positive for me. There were encounters like this one where you have these like elite bosses that are higher level than everybody else, And you can see this guy's more than about twice my level, and he's kind of the leader. And usually these guys drop the legendaries, rares, and epics and stuff like that, but they are hard to kill. Now you could use stuff like I did right here, these like slow motion skill. It's kind of bullet time effect, but still, I mean, this is a really good gun that I'm shooting him with, and it's still taking forever. Now, these guys just get annoying after a while, but you're kind of in it for the loot. So these guys are probably your best shot at finding those legendaries and epics and rares and stuff like that. And it kind of feels unrealistic at times where you're kind of pumping this guy with bullets, but I'm still going to say it's fun overall, and I had a good time just shooting at people. I think the shooting was done wonderful in this game. Now here is where we run into problems that everybody's discussing. For me, it's not a problem. For everybody else, it seems to be. So I'm just going to kind of break it down and tell you how this works. And then I'm going to explain why I think this was a better design decision than something like No Man's Sky. So the way it works is you have all these little solar systems. They're little white dots. Each one of these white dots takes you to the little collection of planets and stuff like that. Looks like a little, third grade project of the solar system. So you select your system that you want to go to, and then it takes you to your planets, and then you select your planet that you want to land on, and you do what's called a grav jump drive, where you get a shortcut scene, and it's like, hey, we're fast traveling to this solar system. Then when you get there, you pick where you want to land, and you again select, I want to land on this part of the planet. Other fast travel cutscene. And there really isn't much in terms of flying through space other than these little sandbox environments here. Now, you select a solar system, it throws you in this sandbox. You get a bunch of planes and stuff like that, asteroids, maybe other ships that you might come across. You might have a little battle or whatever, but for the most part, that's it. You're kind of fast traveling from one solar system to the next, from that sandbox to the landing zone on a planet, and that's it. There isn't this feel like you're traversing across universes or across planets or across. You're not really going from let me lift my ship up, go past the ozone layer, look at this other planet and land my ship there. So the whole system feels very fast travel-y, and I think that's why people are upset. Now for me, I didn't care. It didn't really bother me because I was just using my ship as a means to an end. I was trying to get through the story, I was trying to get through the side quests, I was trying to get through the factions and stuff like that, like to the fun content. And I didn't really care so much about watching my plane land or physically learning how to land a plane perfectly. So when it came to this portion, for me, I understood why they did this. It's just to get you to the next section of the game, or the next mission, or the next whatever. Also, if you had to fly through all this crap, it would take ages, and people don't have enough time. This game is long enough and big enough as it is. If you had to fly through each planet, it would be a nightmare. So I understand why they did it, and I agree with the design decision, and it's not a big deal. Now, this is one of the more fun parts of the game. It's the shipbuilding. And I'm not going to get too detailed into it because it would take like half an hour for me to explain every component of this. But I'm just going to give a brief overview. So you have your ship parts right here. You have your engine. Obviously, you need that to fly. You have your landing gear. Obviously, you need that to land. You have weapons. You have a shield. You have what's called a grav drive, which is how we're doing those fast travel jumps. And you have a reactor, which is that horizontal bar up at the top. And the bigger that is, the more little bars you have, and the more you could take those little bars and assign them to things like the shield, or like the gun, or like, the engine or the grav drive. So this whole thing is very complex and intricate, but if you spend a couple of hours on this portion, you will pick it up. And there's a little indicator on the bottom right hand side that tells you you messed up here, you messed up there. you need to fix this, your ship is too heavy, switch this out, add another engine, reduce the weight, you have too much cargo storage for the engine power. So it's really complicated and really I want to say complex, not complicated, because that makes it sound really bad, but it's kind of intimidating at first. But the more you interact with it, the more you put in, the more you get out. And it is super fun, and you could see people have made like the Mandalorian ship and stuff like that online. You could customize it any way you like. Really, really fun part of the game. So I'm just gonna go ahead and say, like, this is a win for this game. It's definitely one of the pros. It's one of the most fun parts of the game, and in my book, it's one of the reasons why you want to try this game out at least. So high marks for this. Now, this is one of my least favorite parts of this game, and I'm gonna try to explain this even though it's complicated. But the way the skills work in this game is you can't get to that bottom yellow tier unless you have at least 12 in all the other horizontal lines, I believe, or total. So you'd need to invest in 12 skills at the top of the tree, or 3 in each one of these lines, in order to make it to that bottom yellow section. Piloting, for example, you need a level 4 pilot to, or a level 4 skill to pilot a Class C ship. So if you have a Class C ship, whether you acquired it by stealing or building, you're not going to be able to touch that ship or fly it until you upgrade 4 skill points into piloting, which, judging by how long it takes to actually upgrade these skills or get these skill points, I played 100 hours, I'm level 39, I have 39 skill points. Weightlifting is another one that you need because the game cripples you and sets limits on how much crap you could carry. So think about it like you need a level 4 weightlifting, level 4 piloting, and that's 8 skill points. Now you're already, that leaves somebody like me with 31 skill points. So I put it, of course, in these ballistics and stuff like that, but you can see there's so many grayed out skills that I didn't even get to, and that I just read about, and I was like, well, this is useless, that's useless. And there's 82 of these skills in 4 tiers per skill point, or per skill. So I feel like they should just scrap this system, get rid of it, dump it, whatever, throw an update in here. Or if they're not going to update it, do what other games have done in the past. If it feels too grindy, which it does to me, or, it's taking too long to accumulate points to get the skills that you need, or to accumulate experience to get the skills that you need, then just shorten that time out, patch it out, put an update in there that instead of 10 XP per little alien creature that you kill, make it 30, make it 40. Whatever they gotta do to adjust this. I would have liked to have tried every skill point in the game, but I kind of had to go through watching other people's content and videos to say, oh, okay, that one was useless anyways, and I'm never gonna get to it probably anyways, or it's gonna take me a year to get to it. So I'm not even going to worry about it. I'm just going to focus on the stuff that I like and the skills that I want, and just leave it at that. If you made it to this portion of the video, I wanted to just say thank you. This is my first attempt at making a video. Any feedback would be appreciated. Good, bad, indifferent, doesn't matter. I enjoyed making this, and I also enjoyed just giving my thoughts, and hopefully they might help somebody who's kind of on the fence about this, who doesn't know if they have the time or money investment to go into it. I will say that since it's on Game Pass, it's worth a try. It's not going to break the bank or anything like that. I had a lot of fun with it, otherwise I wouldn't have stuck with it for 100 hours. I definitely wouldn't have finished the story if I hated it, probably would have quit halfway through. And I would say it's worth your time, especially if you're a Bethesda fan. You're getting more of what you've seen before, slightly tweaked and slightly better. I know the discourse around this game has been, it's supposed to put Microsoft back on the map, it's supposed to make up for Redfall, it's supposed to do a lot of things. It should have been the company's savior. And I think the marketing and everything around it kind of hyped it up to that point to where some people feel let down. I'm not one of those people. I don't really care because there's so much out there to play and so many things on every platform, which I own all of them. So to me, my expectations weren't through the roof, They were pretty high. I was hoping that Bethesda would kind of knock it out of the park and make the perfect game, but this is not that. It's not perfect. It's extremely enjoyable. It's the most polished Bethesda game that they've ever released. It's a good time. Give it a shot on Game Pass. You'll have fun, even if you don't sink in 100 hours like I did or 1,000 like some other people have. I'm pretty sure you'll find something to like about this game, and some of the parts of this video, I hope they showed you that even if you hate the story, even if you hate everything, hey, just build a ship, fly around, be a pirate, be a space pirate. Have fun, roleplay. Anyways, that's going to do it for me. Thank you all for watching this and making it this far, and I will see you in the next one. Later!